Deepti Laurent joins me on the set to take a look at the big stories in the press today. Hi, Deepti.
Hi, Jeannie.
Now, you're going to start in Venezuela, where that political standoff continues to dominate the world's headlines.
That's right, particularly here in France, actually. Le Figaro, the French right-leaning paper, is talking about it. They actually interviewed Juan Guaido, the president of the National Assembly and self-proclaimed leader of Venezuela, and in this interview, he rejected any chance of a dialogue with Nicolas Maduro, claiming that Maduro is running a dictatorship that has, quote, broken with the constitutional order. The young politician calling for a transitional government and truly free elections as soon as possible. He also reached out to the army, which for the most part is still standing by Maduro.
European countries, in the meantime, have demanded that new elections be held within 8 days.
And this is the focus of the Independence front page today, the British Daily, reporting that Spain, France, Germany and the UK have given Maduro 8 days to organize elections, beyond which time they too will recognize Guaido as the official president, like the US has done. Now, on top of diplomatic pressure, it appears that cracks are starting to show in the army's support for Maduro. That's according to El Periódico, which is a Catalan daily. They're reporting that the Venezuelan military attaché to Washington this weekend declared his support for Guaido and urged his colleagues to do the same. Now, Maduro does also have some support coming mainly from his ally Russia. Kommersant, that's the Russian daily today, is evoking a Venezuelan political crisis that's gone global. They also condemn the EU and US's support for Guaido, calling it, quote, Western interfering in the domestic affairs of Venezuela.
Staying in the region, Deepti, rescue efforts are continuing in Brazil to find survivors after that tragic dam collapse Friday triggered a major mudslide.
Yeah, that's right. The Brazilian daily O Globo is going with a photo display or photo gallery of the faces of those who died in that mudslide in the southeastern city of Brumadinho. Most of them employees from the company called Vale, which is an iron ore company that was actually using the dam to stock mineral mining waste and mud from mining. The search is continuing for hundreds of others who are still unaccounted for, Jeannie.
And the blame is really being pointed squarely at that mining company, Vale, which was using the dam.
Well, the Financial Times reminds us that this is the second mining disaster that this company has been involved in. 3 years ago, another dam containing mine waste in the region collapsed. Then 19 people were killed. While it's also the focus of this article from Folha de Sao Paulo, that's a Brazilian daily, the writer here is saying Brazil has a, quote, forgiveness industry where these mining companies are not held responsible. This tragedy should be, quote, a wake-up call, in particular for the Brazilian president Jair Bolsonaro, who, quote, dreams of loosening up regulation even more around mining.
Deepti, now something completely different. Many of us must have thought that our humble dishwasher was just good for washing dishes, but it turns out that it's much more versatile than that.
Yeah, call it dishwasher dining or dishwasher cuisine or fishwasher, as some have dubbed it. More and more people, at least according to this article from the Australian website news.com.au, are cooking their dinner in their dishwasher. The website explains that there's a heating element that reaches temperatures of 62 degrees, which is good for cooking food, apparently. They've actually likened it to the sous vide technique that is often used by restaurants. So an Australian consumer watch group called Choice actually decided to do the test. They cooked an entire meal in the machine, coconut rice, salmon, and a custard and fruit compote. The verdict, delicious. And apparently safely edible.
And a little wet.
And a little wet. I'm not sure I'll try it anytime soon.
All right, let's wrap up now with a final story, a heartwarming story of a little boy in America who was found alive after 2 days alone in the woods.
It's incredible, his tale of survival. Casey Hathaway, he's just 3 years old. He got lost in the woods behind his grandma's house last week in North Carolina. A massive search ensued in that area. Thankfully, he was found a couple of days later after a tip from someone about a crying boy. He was found wet and cold, but alive. When asked how on earth he survived without food and water for those 2 days, he had this response. He said that he hung out with a bear for a couple of days. Now, interestingly, his favorite cartoon is actually a Russian cartoon show about a little girl called Masha who lives in a forest with a father-like bear who keeps her safe.
Well, the important thing is he came home safe and sound. Deepti, thank you for that. You take it on with that look at the press review today. Thanks to you as well for watching. Don't forget, if you want a closer look at the press review, you can always get it on our website. That address, france24.com.